And the first constituency results have emerged in Zimbabwe's elections as polling continued for a second day in mostly opposition strongholds. The country's election commission has blamed the late printing of ballot papers for the delays. Now, it's a race between the incumbent President Emmerson Mnangagwa and the opposition leader Nelson Chamisa, with fears mounting that the election may not be free or fair, as 39 election observers remain in police custody. Now, for the latest on this story, let's get an update from our correspondent in Zimbabwe, Audrey Chimwanda. Audrey, good morning to you. So, as the results start trickling in, there are warnings, particularly from the state security agencies, that people should not declare an election victory because that could result in some sort of election violence. Why is that? Why are those warnings being issued?
It's just before the ultimate results are announced here at the National Command Center. And speaking of the warnings that we've been getting from the security detail here in Zimbabwe, as we speak, 2 roads behind us, we can't show you right now. There's quite a bit of wind, also you'll forgive us if our sound is a bit messy. 2 roads that are leading up to the National Results Center have been blocked by the security. People are having to walk around, creating quite a bit of traffic. Those are some of the security measures that have been put in place ahead of the official announcement by the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, the head of that department, Judge Priscilla Chigumba. We have preliminary results as well from the National Assembly candidates who contested in this election, and it appears ZANU-PF is retaining most of its stronghold areas, that is your rural areas. The number we have at the moment is 161. Mind you, 210 seats were up for grabs in this election, and the opposition Triple C is standing at 49. Now, looking at those numbers, ZANU-PF is clearly leading and ultimately going to secure the 2/3 majority. That is obviously the ticket to having most of the decision when it comes to Parliament. The Triple C also maintaining its stronghold in the urban areas. So that trend is pretty much what we expected coming from 2018. However, I have a guest with me, one of the 2 women that were the presidential candidates in this election, one who's still in the running, and we have the president of LEAD, that is Linda Msarira. She was disqualified. A number of administrative issues, I understand, that led to you being disqualified from this election. But what is your take, now that we've reached this stage of the elections, with regards to how this whole electoral process has been conducted, including the arrest that we've seen, the roads being blocked? What is your take to that?
I should be honest and say, at this juncture, I am embarrassed to be a Zimbabwean, considering the way Zimbabwe Electoral Commission handled this election, the delays on the ballot paper, the arbitrary arrests. We're not even quite sure why these people have been arrested. And the pre-election period itself leading to the election was marred with a lot of irregularities. So when we look at this election, I personally think that Zimbabwe Electoral Commission was not ready for this election. We went into it haphazardly. The printing of the ballot paper was done secretly, and the late deployment of ballot papers to polling station also shows disorganization and lack of cohesion within Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. So I think that this election in itself, the way it was handled by the Commission, was more of a sham, because it shows that they were not organized for the 2023 harmonized elections.
Then comes the big question: would you call this a free and fair election? I know you've already alluded to the fact that there were some serious issues that the ZEC was supposed to have handled, and we've seen the culmination of that in the past couple of days. An unprecedented second day of elections happening here in Zimbabwe. We also expect a report from the observers. But just from your take.
From my perspective, when there are a lot of irregularities, delays, obviously it takes a toll on the electorate. People get frustrated and some end up not voting. So that context itself makes the election unfair, because all things were not held constant. All things were not held at the time that they were supposed to happen. And when we also look at the pre-election period, the disqualification of candidates, it also speaks a lot to the conduct of ZEC prior to the election date.
Linda Msarira, that's the president of the lead party, an opposition party here in Zimbabwe, giving us her opinion with regards to how the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission ran this election. We're expecting some press briefings from President Mnangagwa and the opposition CCC, Nelson Chamisa, around 10 o'clock. We'll be chasing that story, giving you the latest details. Also with regards to the security details that have been put in place here in Zimbabwe ahead of that official announcement from Judge Priscilla Chigumba with the results that are coming in, Xoli.
Thank you very much, Audrey. Chimwanda, our correspondent in Zimbabwe. Thanks indeed for that update. So